Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday to you. Today, I want to chat with you about how to make a positive first impression no matter what business you're in. I think I'm going to share with you a couple of thoughts here because being in the hotel business, it's all about the first impression, the arrival process, and I'm going to talk about that today. Allow some people to get into the video call here with Facebook Live. First of all, I want to take the time to connect with you and tell you that I really truthfully appreciate everybody's feedback so far on some of the customer service topics we've been talking about. You know, customer service, if you're not passionate about customer service, it's really hard to get connected to customer service. So I truthfully appreciate everyone, some of you that are out there who are sharing positive feedback, support, and all of these great things to develop yourself and to develop more of who you are to be a valuable asset in your company. Customer service is the next battleground. If you think about what business is doing today, customer service is the edge. Customer service is going to be the main difference in your company. So I want to dive into some of the lessons I've learned with customer service and making first impressions, making a positive first impressions. And I want to kind of get you to join in and share some of the things you're thinking about, because I want to ask you a question, beginning with a question, if you will. And that is, when was the last time you went to a place of business, maybe it's retail or restaurant or a hotel, and you were really wowed with their customer service, to how they welcomed you? You felt that there was warm, genuine welcome when you were dealing with that company. Now, it could be also maybe you were doing some things online, maybe you're shopping online. What really impressed you with some of the companies that are doing businesses online, that was that very first impression was just a genuine warm welcome, maybe easy to do business with, maybe a company that you felt like this is really efficient and effective way to start the relationship. So I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips, 3 best practices that I think can be applied to any business when you want to make a positive first impression. And I'll start with a story, because I think stories resonate with people probably more than anything else, the tips and the best practices. So I've been in the business for 20 years, and I can't think of a better industry to hone in and share with you why the first impression, the very first, probably first 5 to 10 minutes with that customer or guest or client are going to set the tone for the rest of the experience. And I like to emphasize guest experience or customer experience or client experience, because in today's world, where we're looking at, when people say customer service, and as much as I talk about customer service, I think customer service is the basics, is really the foundation of what every business and a company should provide to their customer. But when you start thinking about the customer experience, it's a whole different ball game, and there are several points with that. And what I'm saying here is that the welcoming part, the first impression part, is a key element in establishing that relationship of trust that you're going to have with your customer, because that will be the first indication of whether they can trust your company, whether you this is the moment of truth. You know, you can have the best advertising out there, you can have the best promotional items, the best way to market yourself as a business and a company. But if you're not living those values, living the brand, and people are doing what you said you will do, to the brand promise, if you will, then it's very difficult. And so I have so many stories, but I'll share with you a couple of stories in terms of how important that is, that first impression, because that's something, when you're in the hospitality business, hotel business, the warm welcome, and we call it a warm welcome because you definitely don't want to appear a cold type of environment. Remember, here's what's happening to many customers. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us. what happens a lot of times is that, first of all, people are not in their homes, right? People are not, even if you take restaurants, people are not sitting in their home and having dinner or having lunch or having breakfast. They're there outside of their comfort zone. They're there to belong to a place. So how would you feel if you're in a strange place? Maybe you traveled recently, you went to a hotel, and you're not feeling just as comfortable just yet. And I think that your job as a brand and your job as a company, or no matter what industry you're in, and I think that's where the hospitality field comes in, is that we want our guests to feel comfortable. We want our guests to feel like this is their home. And how do you do that? And I'm going to be talking about that more. And what I've learned in the hotel business, which is very valuable to many businesses, is that probably the very first 2 minutes of them walking into your property, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a hotel, the very first few seconds are so critical, and that communicates a lot. And here's what I'm saying, because we were talking about customer service in all of these videos, and if you took something away from that, it was people. And so begin with your people, begin to coach your people, begin to mentor them, because they're going to be the ones that deliver the service. And here's what I'm saying. In our hotel business, what has evolved is the mobile check-in app and a lot of these technologies that are coming out right now to make it more efficient for the guest, for the customer, in many industries. But I think that people still love that personal touch, the welcoming, the arrival process, the human touch. People still love that in our industry. And I've been to different corporate environments, different corporate hotels, different brands. But I can tell you, if there's one main theme, one main story that every brand wants to master and create value for their guests and customers, it's that first impression. And I think that we definitely get graded for that first arrival experience and that first moment that people come in to your property, to your hotel or restaurant. People want to feel welcome. People want to feel like they're there. Good morning, Vicky. I appreciate you joining in on this call. We're talking about, if you're just joining in, I put in the title up there for you guys, making that positive first impression. So, Vicky, if you want to put your comments on when was the last time you had a very positive, welcoming first impression of a business. Maybe it's online. Maybe it's something that happened in your neighborhood, retail store, restaurant, or hotel that you recently visited. And so please share those with me. We'll get a chance to read them shortly. But let me go ahead, and I know that many of you are having a busy day, so I want to share with you those three things and add value to your day with those three things. Number one, and I think that gets truthfully underestimated in many places. So let me talk about this, and it's probably one of the most difficult part of mastering that first impression. Body language. And here's what I'm saying with body language here. The tone of voice, your smile, your posture, and how your body language probably speaks 70% of how you make that first impression. And here's what I'm saying is that probably you can relate. Maybe you go to networking events, or maybe you're meeting people and you're trying to connect with people in your industry. And a lot of times, I mean, just that very first kind of getaway is that body language. How does the person communicates with their body language? Did they transmit a message of being genuine, someone that you can trust, someone that you can open up to, someone that you can connect with? After all, you've never met this person. And the same thing works for customers and clients. And maybe some of you guys are doing that on the phone, where you can say, well, they can't see my body language, but they can hear your smile. They can hear your posture. If you're lazy, you're not making the efforts to connect with them. But in all reality, in face-to-face interactions, 70% of first impressions that speak louder than the words is your body language. You have to be open and welcoming. And most important, here's when you want your guests and customers to take away, is that they want to feel that positive vibe from you. if you ever have, maybe your friends, someone on your team, there's always someone there that is always, that positive energy in the room, that positive vibe. They create that energy in the room, right? And that person is just an amazing person because you feel energized by that person's body language and tone of voice and their smile, and they're just radiating a lot of positive energy. So be thinking about that. You can always model someone that's already has it, and then they master it, right, in so many ways. So let's go into number 2, and this is very, very important as well, not to underestimate number 1. But number 2 here is creating that emotional connection with that customer. What does that mean, creating emotional connection? And let's dive into it. But I hear Maria Garcia, thank you so much for joining us on the video. Customers love to interact with people. They want to feel important and valued. We deliver this by being excited, happy to serve them, and being interested in them. So it's actually a great segue. Thank you, Maria. Great segue to creating that emotional connection. I was actually just this morning, I went to CVS this morning, Maria, here in the neighborhood, and I needed to get something. And actually had a different person, different manager, different staff member there. And it wasn't necessarily the positive vibe or the energy, but the person was very interested in what I needed to get. Not only that, they took the time to connect with me on how this product is, what they're using, how they're using it, how that's going to maybe improve my life, and all these kind of connection, that conversation. A better way to say it is just having that meaningful dialogue with that person so they can feel like they're just not another transaction. Remember, you're there, whatever your industry you're in here, here's what I'm saying is that you're there to create a purpose. They want to know why they're there because they can go easily to another place, very easily. Today, many customers have options. And so they can go somewhere else. What's different about you? The difference is your people. And please remember that, because if your people are creating that emotional connection, they're creating that experience, and it doesn't have to be grandiose experience like a Ritz-Carlton experience or Four Seasons experience, but just connecting with them on a personal level, not too personal, but just enough to create that connection with them so they can feel like they're connecting with you. True story with that one is, and it's actually in retail, not necessarily a hotel, but sometimes people will say a funny thing, or they will say something that will make you laugh, or they'll try to create a connection with you by engaging with you and say maybe something funny, right? Because they want to kind of break the ice. And here's what emotional connections are about. They're about breaking the ice with that customer, okay? So be thinking about that on how you want to create that emotional connection. And everybody is going to do it differently. Everybody has their own personality. Everybody has their own way. Maybe some people are more introverted. Some people are more extroverted, and they want to connect in their own way. So don't use a cookie cutter approach. If you have a better approach to connect with people, then do that, because that makes you unique and valuable. I know people in my hotel that are probably 4 or 3 people that are connecting in a different way than I would, but they're still connecting on an emotional level with that customer. So be thinking about that. That's value added to that first impression. Number 3 is this is coming from the hotel business, but I think that any business can relate to this one, and this is about creating a surprise and delight, creating a wow factor into this first impression. And here's what I'm saying, and it's easy for me to talk about it because in the hotel business, when you're thinking about that first impression in the hotel or coming into a hotel, you may be doing things like cookies or chocolate, or maybe their favorite drink, or an amenity in the room, something very nice to welcome them, to make them feel as a VIP, very important guest, right? And let me jump in here to some of the comments. Body language is my daily experience. Smile, trust, and passion. Love that, Vicky. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's very important. They perceive right away just by the way they hear me talking about products and service. Vicky, what industry are you in? I would love to for you to share that with us on this video call too. But it's true, and here's what's happening with that. I just want to talk about that specific comment. because it's not only in customer service, it's in our lives. I mean, just imagine, take two people, be thinking about two people in your life. Take the person who is someone that you want to be around with because they're probably the most positive person in your life, right? And then there's a reason why you want to be connected with this person. There's a reason why this person, he or she makes you feel great, right? And you want to be around this person. If you can hang around this person for 2-3 hours a day, you would, because it brings the best out of you. And then take the other example, right? Take the negative person and how much you don't like to be around that person. Maybe it's a he or she, and you don't like to be around that person because they're nothing but negativity, and they're nothing but, as we call it, drama queens, right? We don't want to be around that person. Financial services, insurance, great. I have so many friends in that industry, and I'll connect with you, Vicky, as well. And so, great point, Vicky, because this is one of those things that, especially in financial industries and financial services, many people, the competence and the language and what you're introducing to them, and someone can get overwhelmed. So you want to be an advocate, and you want to be someone who can support their dreams, someone who can support whatever they have, and so that's a great connection way to do that. So going back to the last tip here for you is about how to create that wow factor. And I know, as I said, in the hotel business, you have many wow factors that you can connect with that customer in so many ways. You can be creative. And being creative in your industry, ask yourself the question, how can I be creative and create that wow factor? And I'm going to give you an example. Sometimes it's the simple things, and sometimes it's not again, don't overthink this. Simplify this for you and simplify this for the customer, because it's almost like giving a birthday gift to someone. If you're overthinking it and you don't know, you're just overthinking everything, then you're not going to be delivering what you want. And remember, it's the thought that counts. So examples could be thank you notes. Examples could be small gift bags or delights, or something that one of the things that you can do is find out what your customer like. Ask them the questions, try to probe and find out what is their favorite snack, what is their favorite drink. Maybe I've seen people take just little small cakes or bagels or something to create that wow factor. What you're trying to do there is create value. And your customers, here's what they're asking, and this is why it's so important in any business, really. Here's what they're asking. What's so different about you? If I met someone just 20 minutes ago and they're doing the same thing as you do, what's different about you? How are you adding value to my life? How are you adding value to what I do every day? Right? So be creative, be thinking about, you have your own ideas on how to create that connection and how to create that first impression. And some people do it later, some people do it in a different touch point with that relationship. And that's okay as well. You don't want to overwhelm them and overdo it, but you do want to create a little bit of a wow factor into that, because again, I know it's a cliche, but it's people will do business with people they like and trust. So you have to establish that environment for them to have that like and trust and authentic, genuine, and being vulnerable with them. And, there's some things that they want to know more about you. You know more about them than they know about you. I don't know if you realize that, and that's one of those things that it's very important to connect. So I really appreciate you guys being on this call, and feel free to share some of your tips, because you guys are coming from different industries and you've had wonderful experiences, success stories. I would love for you to connect with me and share those with me, because what we're working on right now is that customer service. We're all passionate about it, but the difference maker is that executing those those things with our customers. Everybody knows about it intellectually, but we want to take that further and take action today. So I would love for you to take action today. My call of action to you is that to take one customer today, maybe one or two customers that you're working with and have a relationship with, and I challenge you and encourage you to make their day in that first impression, that first interaction, maybe 5-10 minutes. I challenge you to make their day and write that story about how you made their day. So thank you so much, Vicky and Maria and everybody else on this call. I really appreciate your connection and engagement with this, and I will connect you guys with you guys later on in the week. And I appreciate you joining me. So thank you so much. Have yourself a great day.